Okay, let's dive into something that's totally changing the game for our power grid. We're talking about a huge shift away from giant faraway power plants and bringing that power generation right into our own backyards.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? The wind is howling, maybe a tree falls somewhere miles and miles away, and then, poof, everything goes dark. Well, a big reason for that is how our power has to travel to get to us.
See, for more than 100 years, our electricity has had to take this incredibly long road trip just to get to our homes and businesses. And here's what that trip looks like. This is our traditional grid. You've got this huge central power station making all the electricity, and then it has to travel across all these transmission lines to finally reach you. Think about it like this. It's kind of like getting all your groceries from one single giant supermarket that's hundreds of miles away.
And, that long journey, it has some pretty serious problems. For starters, a surprising amount of that energy just gets lost along the way. Kind of like water leaking from a very, very long hose. The whole system is super expensive to maintain, and if one part fails, it can create this massive domino effect, a cascading failure that causes those huge outages.
So that leads to a really big question, a game-changing question, really. What if we didn't have to do it that way? What if we could generate our power much, much closer to home?
And that's where this new model comes into play. It basically flips that entire old system right on its head. We're talking about local energy.
This whole idea is called distributed generation. So instead of that one giant distant supermarket, just imagine having backyard gardens and local farmers markets all over town. That's the core concept. Lots of small power sources, right there in the community.
And this comparison just illustrates the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the old, centralized model. See how all the lines lead back to one single point? If that station goes down, boom, everyone loses power. But now look at the right, the distributed model. It's more like a web. It's a network, which makes it so much more resilient.
So what exactly are these local power gardens we're talking about? Well, they're called distributed energy resources, or much easier to say, DERs. Now, when you hear that, your mind probably jumps straight to solar panels on a roof. And yeah, you're totally right, but that's really just the beginning of the story.
This new energy toolkit is actually way bigger. Of course, you've got rooftop solar, but you also have batteries to store that solar power for later. Your EV, your electric car, can even act like a battery on wheels. And it's not just about making power, it's also about using it smarter. Things like energy efficiency, just using less, and something cool called demand response, which is basically a fancy way of saying your smart appliances can wait to run until electricity is cheaper and more abundant.
So, when you start putting all of these DERs together, you don't just get a new grid, you get a much, much smarter and stronger one.
So let's break down the big wins here. The new grid? Way more efficient. The power doesn't have to travel as far, so you lose less of it. Simple as that. It's also way more reliable, a lot less likely to have those massive blackouts. And maybe the best part? It gives you, the customer, a ton more options.
And this quote from our source material really nails it. It's all about moving away from that old one-size-fits-all system to one where you have a whole portfolio of choices for how you get and use your energy.
So, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Distributed generation isn't just about new technology. It's about decentralizing our power grid and, quite literally, putting more power and choice back into your hands.
Hey, if this made our energy future just a little bit clearer for you, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button for Energy Simply Explained. We'd love to have you. Thanks for watching.